I think we can all agree that the world today feels extremely chaotic. There's so much noise about the endless possibilities of attaining your goals, achieving more and more. But I'd like to offer a different perspective. Maybe the question that you can ask yourself is, rather than what my goal is, how is it that I want to live my life during the path to achieving that particular goal? What is it that I want to be spending my time and energy on? And this isn't to diminish the importance of the vision. I also believe that it's important to have clarity about the destination you're aiming for. It can act as a compass to keep you walking forward rather than in circles. But within that vision, within that goal, how is it that you want to spend your days? How do you want your days to feel? What daily components are important to you? Because it's the day to day, the things you learn along the way, the ways in which you relate to others, to your friends, your partner, the place where you live, that is going to really add value to your life. And it is those daily transformations that eventually are going to lead you to your goal. A few years back, I was having a tarot session. I didn't have much experience with tarot and didn't know that I needed to prepare a question. So the tarot reader asked me, "What do you want?" And I got stuck for a moment. I knew what were some of the projects that I wanted to achieve, but that bigger question, what do you want, felt a bit less clear. At that moment, I was already in a growth path. I had a spiritual practice. I was going to therapy. I was working on something I liked. And it seemed natural to respond, I want to liberate. I want to discover my true nature, my true self. And she said something along the lines of, yeah, we all want that. But while that happens, what is it that you want to dedicate your energy and your time towards? How do you want your days to look like? And it resonated with me a lot because, as probably many of you, I was very purpose-driven, goal-oriented. I was super productive. But usually when we achieve the goal that we have set for ourselves, we simply find a new one. Because to get to that particular goal, we had to change who we were. And now that we have changed, we just find new things to strive for. And that's when I started to see that maybe what really matters is not so much what we are doing, but how we are being while we are doing it. Because, I mean, let's be truthful, we can't plan our lives to the dot as much as we'd like to. I mean, as a Capricorn, I would definitely like to control my life more. But anyhow, we can't control everything, and we can only kind of, I like to see it as a dance with life. There are so many things that are out of our control, timing, other people's choices, I don't know, even the opportunities that present to you or don't present to you. So, and if we add the layer of karma and grace, what we can really align with is with how we move through it all. The energy that we bring to each day, the level of presence we choose to cultivate, the trust we build in the process itself. When we are connected with, I don't know, like the flow of life, it starts to happen that things just begin to organize by themselves. Opportunities start coming in unexpected ways, and you start to see the path very clearly. And you realize that the how you're doing it carries the seed of the what. When you focus on how you want to live, I don't know, with love, compassion, the right goals start to appear very naturally, and they stop feeling like something that, I don't know, like that you need to chase. And this doesn't mean that you have to stop having ambition or dreams. It just means that you, I don't know, it's kind of like you stop fighting the river and you allow, I don't know, life and divinity to collaborate with you. So maybe, I don't know, a better question could be, how can I live in alignment with what feels true, what feels meaningful to me right now? Because when, I don't know, when you live in this flow, you realize that purpose isn't something that's kind of like fixed in the distance, but rather something that you embody every day, and you start noticing the signs around you and drawing information from richer sources than simply an action plan that you drafted on a Google Doc. So I invite you to think about that. How is it that you want to spend your time and energy while you walk towards achieving your goal? And what is something that you can start doing today for the path to feel richer and more aligned with what you truly are? What if the how you live today is already like shaping your goal? I was listening to a lecture from Alan Watts last night about the limits of language, and I mean, it resonated with me a lot because in my artistic practice, I've explored something that I call wordless dialogue, which essentially like questions the limited possibilities of language. I mean, language is a very powerful tool for communicating with others and drawing information from the world, but it's also extremely limited and flat in that when we process information through language, it's impossible to express the full extent of what something is conveying. In the lecture, I'm going to read it actually. Unfortunately, when we understand something, most of us really mean that we got it translated into words, although we understand an enormous number of things that we don't know about in words at all. I mean, and think about it. When, for instance, you spend a wonderful night with your partner, you had dinner overlooking a beautiful sunset or whatever it may be, and then a friend asks you how it went, you're probably going to describe the actions, the mood, but it won't really convey the extent of the complex beauty of the moment. And for the purpose of what I'm trying to talk to you about in this video, when you set a goal, you translate that complexity into the flatness of language, and we do this from or through the rational mind. It's a really valuable tool, but it's only that, it's a tool. And we forget about the how of the path. And we're failing to live and embody the full complexity of the vision of our goal. And that brings me to the last point I want to make today, which has to do with presence, with mindfulness, with bringing our full awareness to the moment we are living. Neurosis can be explained as the rupture or fragmentation from the here and now. We are essentially neurotic because we're constantly jumping between the expectation of the future, the goal, and the stories of our past. Shifting the perspective from the where to the how brings you to the present moment, to the day-to-day, to the path. And it also allows you to walk a path towards a goal, embodying the richness of complexity, the richness of beauty, of joy, rather than a translated version of that you have defined in a few lines describing what your goal is. Because at the end, it's not the destination that defines your life, it's the quality of presence that you bring to every moment. So how do you want your days to look like? What are the essential components that help you grow and give you joy? What is something that you can do today to start living in that way? I'd love to hear about it. If you feel compelled to, share it in the comments. I'd love to know where you are in your journey, where you're feeling stuck, what are the things you value. And if you'd like, you can watch this video next about 2 simple practices that you can do to identify what is keeping you stuck and how you can, or what you can do to start releasing from it. Thank you for being here. I will see you next week.